All right, welcome back to episode 6 of the Instrument ACS Rundown. Today we are going to cover task A of Area of Operations 2, which is going to be covering icing and autopilot. It's going to be pretty quick because on both of these accounts, we never fly in icing and most of us will not be using autopilot. So let's get into it. All right, so like I told you guys before, this is going to be pretty quick. First part of the knowledge is going to be talking about the limitations regarding icing. As most of you guys know from private, we were all taught that we do not fly in the known icing conditions and that our aircraft is not built for that. Most of us only either have pitot heat and maybe the heater that is inside the aircraft, but other than that, that doesn't help us if we actually accumulate ice. So, again, I'm going to show you two places that you can go to get information on icing. Obviously, the first one for icing, we can go to uh, Instrument Flying Handbook here. If we go to page 4-13, it lists the types of icing that you should already know from private, and we'll go through that. I'm not going to go through it. We already know what that is. And then here it tells us how it decreases or increases drag by like 100%. That is crazy. 100%. It makes us heavier as well, which means when we enter our angle of attack and we end up stalling quicker because we are heavier and we're having to pitch up more to basically keep our lift up. And with that, we're going to stall. And when we stall, we're not going to be able to get up in the air because that ice is still really accumulating. So as soon as we think we're even getting close to ice, we descend immediately. But if we go into here too, it also gives us the effect of icing on aircraft systems. And so this is a really good read. I would suggest this. I didn't even know this was here when I was in instrument, but it gives us for flight instruments, stall warning systems, windshields, and antennas. Obviously, antennas are going to be really prone to icing because they are small protruding areas, and ice likes to get to that. And if our antennas freeze up, possibly our communications aren't going to work. So that's also something to be aware of. But yeah, this is a really good page to use. Obviously, I have under here as well, Aviation Letter Handbook. We can go, I even have this bookmark because this was so important. Icing. That gives a really good definition on icing as well, and you can flip through those. And I think that is, and the PHAC. If you have an aircraft that for some reason does have de-icing equipment, this is a really good resource to use along with your POH because, again, all of our POHs for the most part are going to tell us do not go into known icing conditions. So, under here, under 7-40 to 7-41, so we'll go there. All right, anti-de-icing systems. When I was in CFI, I did write down all of these anti-icing systems, even though it was not pertinent. Still need to be able to teach it. So read through these 2 pages, and that's pretty much all you need for the de-icing and anti-icing equipment, and you'll be good. So that covers icing, which, like I told you guys, is going to be pretty quick. And then last, we have flight control systems. So this is going to be including automated systems. So like our autopilot. Again, um, most of the time, you guys aren't even going to be familiar with this because most of the aircraft, the training aircraft that you're going to be in, will not have autopilot. Now, if the aircraft does have autopilot, most of the time, the instructor will disengage it. But if they don't, then you are going to be required to possibly know a little bit about the system. The only thing that I could find regarding autopilot when I looked under this is I did a flight control system. And guys, if you don't know this, put this in ForeFlight and have all of your handbooks there because this is how I'm able to quickly look things up during a check ride. So it saves me a lot of time than actually having the full book out in front. So under here we have 5-25 and that's not working. So we'll go under here, 525. And this just gives us a simple idea of what autopilot is. But obviously if you have autopilot, you guys might have a document that you use and you'll be able to answer more questions on that. Past that, I don't have a lot for you guys on that one. Like I told you, there's autopilot in my aircraft that I fly where I work, but I don't, I'm not very familiar with it. And so, for safety reasons, I'm not going to use it unless I get a lot more comfortable with it. And two, I'm not going to have my students do it because, again, that's putting them in jeopardy. All right, so we've talked about operations and icing conditions, the limitations that icing can have for our anti-icing systems and automated systems. So that is pretty much it for this task. Like I said, it's going to be pretty quick, and this is the shortest one. So I will be posting the next one today, and we will be covering aircraft flight instruments and navigation equipment. This is going to be a huge one, so stay tuned for that.